Right. Well, here we are at the Warrior Healing Center. And this is the first of many, many shows. And we've come up with a name for this show. It's going to be every Thursday at 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. And it is the Cochise Spotlight.
Awesome.
Cochise Spotlight. And I have two people with me today and a special guest. This is Dr. Tim Kirk. He is the founder and executive director of the Warrior Healing Center. And my understanding is it's all volunteer work.
That's right.
That's all fun. That's amazing. That is amazing.
We got a lot of good people here making stuff happen. So it's just a tremendous group and helping a lot of folks, and just really an honor to be part of it.
And I'm going to introduce the other man standing behind us. Kind of, this is our also a volunteer, and this is. I'll go ahead and introduce her.
Hey everyone, I'm pretty sure everybody knows me. If you don't, let's just go ahead and do this one more time. I've got 99 problems, but that one's not one anymore. It's me, it's Erik Z, your local lock on the block, the technician for today and future broadcast for the Cochise Spotlight.
Now that's awesome. An introduction. I could not have done that.
He's got charisma.
Yeah. And I'm Robert Ishoy, and I am the host of this show with Erik as my backup, who will also be the a host on occasions. So we got a team here, and I'm pretty excited about what we're going to do. And first, I'm going to have Tim kind of explain how we got here to do this show every week.
Go ahead to that chair and
okay.
Let you guys do your thing.
All right. So if you can kind of give a little background, how you got started on this idea.
Which idea? The Warrior Healing Center or the...
how about both?
Okay, sure.
How about both?
So the Warrior Healing Center happened absolutely by accident. It was not intended. But I retired from the Air Force and had the so-so experience with the VA that, you hear a lot about.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
More importantly, I had a lot of my former troops that had a lot of challenges getting their benefits and getting taken care of. And I just saw firsthand from my own experience and from many of my troops' experience that, man, once you got out, you were alone. You were on your own, and nobody knew which way was up. It was just this chaotic situation when people transition out. And of course, it depends on which base or post you're at when you get out, because some posts have a solid transition program, but others don't. And a lot of times guys will just get lost in the business, the thrash of carrying around your DD-214 and trying to find the right people in town who can help you out. And everywhere you go, they're like, well, you've come to the wrong place, but go down there and talk to Charlie. And you drive 20 minutes to find Charlie, and then he says, oh no, that's a Form 93A. Form 93A, you have to take that over to Lisa, on the other side of town. It's that same kind of runaround that a lot of vets feel like they experience when they get out. And so the idea was, well, let's do kind of like what we did in the military and create a unit where you have people who are there to assist whenever soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen have challenges, trouble, difficulty, or whatever. They can come and the people there have already kind of figured out the process. They've licked the secret handshake. And so people can come in and find out, I want to apply for my VA benefits. I need to do this, or I'm having this problem, and you do that. And as we built kind of our database of all the problems that veterans were experiencing and the stuff we need to figure out, it became gigantic. There was just this huge need for help, and many of the situations were crisis, emotional or psychological crisis. And we just observed at that point that these are the crises that lead to veteran suicide. If there's not something to intervene in this crisis, then this person's on a one-way trip to a suicidal meltdown. So what we created was kind of an evolving concept that we're still working on. The job's never done, but I'm perfectly willing to take credit for the job half done. So the the way we've matured this is we got together with the faculty at Johns Hopkins University, who has developed a concept called psychological first aid. And we learned the principles of that and talked with them about how we wanted to incorporate it, because what Johns Hopkins research has found is that when people experience a crisis and then go to get assistance, particularly in places like the VA, they'll get treated with long-term modalities. They'll get counseling, cognitive-based therapy, medication, and so forth. Whereas what they really need is psychological first aid, which is an entirely different set of skills, entirely different paradigm. And what research has shown is if you try to take a person who's in crisis and treat them with the long-term modalities and therapies, it actually does more harm than it does good. So it's hurting people to get put in that situation.
And you don't want that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's bad enough, right?
Yeah.
And, from the bigger picture perspective, if you think about it, there are like 1,600 hours in a week. And if you think about what that means in terms of how much time veterans spend on their issues, their problems, their job, their family, and so forth. If you have, how can I say? Did I say 1,600? I think I meant 160. But
you got your
do
point
that
across.
math. Yeah,
you got your point across.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Eric's
figuring it. Okay, good. Carry the one. Don't forget to carry the one. Yeah, but the bottom line is, even if a veteran gets seen for 2 hours a week at the VA for whatever reason, or 3 hours a week, maximum 4 hours a week, someone who's really getting intensive help at the VA 4 hours a week, that's still less than 2% of that veteran's time. So where does the veteran spend the rest of their time? Well, they spend it out here in the community, at home, family, friends, neighbors, coworkers, and ultimately there's a lot of good that can be done with veterans in that 2% of the time. But where most of the help is needed and can be effective is in that 98%.
Which is basically day to day.
Exactly.
And because, my understanding is you guys pretty much cover all the types of issues. I could, as a veteran, and if you're out there listening and a veteran, this is serious, you got to listen to this. You can have, it can be emotional, it could be physical, it could be health, it can be financial, it can, lack of employment, and because all these different aspects of life add up.
Right.
It can be a combination of things. So my understanding is that this healing center covers all these different, and it doesn't have to be a crisis.
Right.
If you got an issue that you need help on, let's get help now. Not when it becomes a crisis.
Right.
All right.
Exactly.
So,
and then we continue to follow up with veterans after we've helped them with whatever crisis or sub-crisis, that they've had to deal with. We never stop. It's not like we say, okay, you're good to go. See you later. Have a nice life. We really focus on the follow-up, because the way we see it is it's hard enough to get veterans to ask for help.
Yes, we are kind of stubborn that way. Yeah.
So once they've received any kind of assistance or advice or help or anything like that, they are much less likely to come back and ask for help a second time or a third time. So the kind of follow-up that we have to do in order to really make sure that we don't get into a relapse of crisis is critical, where we have to say, hey, look, we're following up with you because we care about you and know you had this in the past. Just want to make sure that's still cool. Is there anything else that is causing you stress? Because ultimately, like you said, keeping the level of emotional and psychological stress below the crisis level reduces the overall threat for veteran suicide.
Yeah.
And that's really the objective, is to be a community first aid station for psychological and emotional stressors that ultimately can lead to suicide. Because 98% is where folks live and where all those problems happen. And if you look at what help is available, it's very limited when it comes to those type of crisis situations. So that's our specialty, is to work with all our community partners, because we don't have all the resources. The resources are in the community.
And you have professionals that you have relationships with,
right,
that know how to handle, whether it be a financial situation or an emotional, mental situation, or physical. You have those contacts.
Yeah, I want to emphasize that. It's entirely partnership with other community resources and building those relationships so that when we do have the crisis, then we know exactly who to call, what resources are available, what the rules are for those particular resources. And we're just kind of like the broker who's fitting together the veteran in crisis with whatever resources are necessary. But ultimately, that's what reduces the threat for veteran suicide.
Okay. So I got to ask you now, how's this network of veteran-owned businesses that you've come up with, how's that tie into this?
Well, we think it's essential for a number of reasons. Number one, because this is a military town. If it wasn't for the post, Sierra Vista probably wouldn't exist. Certainly not to the level that it does. So our veteran-owned businesses are a centerpiece of our community here, in the sense that many folks choose to return here, retire to here, live here, raise their families here, because of that common experience that they've had with the military. The post-exchange, the MWR, all the other things that they can have access to are right here as well. So if we have a community that is not focused on promoting veteran business and getting veteran businesses connected and magnified, then we're really missing the boat, because ultimately that's a very powerful part of our community and represents a very good portion of our business community as well.
Even if you're not a veteran, if you're not, you're definitely right. I mean, probably half the community are veterans, if not more. Right. But if you're not a veteran, you're a veteran, and your customers are veteran, and you have family members that are veterans. So it all ties in together, and it goes the other way too. As a veteran-owned business, you also are working with the community at large.
Right.
So you have associations. So it's all connected, and but it really comes down to supporting each other.
Exactly.
Really what it comes.
And that's the flip side of the coin, is veteran business owners are the perfect example for our veterans in crisis, or our veterans who are transitioning out of the military, or veterans who are trying to decide what they want to do with the rest of their life. Because our veteran-owned businesses represent people who have overcome those challenges of starting a business. They've overcome all the, admin, paperwork, et cetera, the life experience to create this business presence in the community that is a very visible sign to veterans to look at and say, hey,
wow.
Yeah,
I can do that.
I might.
And if you're a vet, I'm going to make a point right there. If you're a veteran out there listening and watching the show, and you have maybe an aspiration to go into business, we have a resource right here.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, between the members that have joined this veteran-owned business, we got decades of experience. Some of us have been open for years. Some of us are brand new, just learning how to start a business. And we have different kinds of businesses, home-based, internet, brick and mortar. We have experience. We can give you advice. So if you're a veteran thinking about starting a business, come see us. We'll help you out.
That's exactly the idea, is that when veterans feel supported and they don't feel isolated, they know they're not alone, then they're much more resilient to the problems that inevitably come up in life. But when we're isolated, when we're alone, when we feel like there's no one there to help, there's no team behind you, then that's when we start getting into
that depression and
depression,
and you start thinking, well, I can't do this, you know.
right.
And every business starts with an idea.
Exactly.
That's all it is. Somebody has an idea and they make it happen, but it
Right.
starts with an idea. So if you got an idea, you know, I was thinking this week, I was like, okay, these veteran-owned businesses, you know, that either retired or people have been in the military, they get out. And I was thinking, what do they all have in common that they've actually gone into business now? And I thought of two things: dedication and innovation.
Right.
They've all been serve their country.
Mm-hmm.
Dedication. They get out. They want to be part of the community.
Right.
They're dedicated to the place they live. They're dedicated to their business. Honestly, most of them don't have aspirations of becoming the next, you know,
Right.
big company and millionaire. They know it's going to be rough.
Right.
But what do? They invest their money.
Yep.
Usually their life savings.
Right.
A lot of time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they're dedicated. So very dedicated. And that, I think that ties into their military experience.
Sure.
You know?
No
and
doubt.
then the innovation. I'm not going to give them away, but you know, we've got already lined up for the next month. We have guests that are veteran business owners that are going to be on this show, and they're pretty innovative. Now, I mean, veterans come up with ideas. Some of them, I think, come up with an idea of what they're passionate about, and some come up with an idea of what they think this community needs.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
That's exactly right. Is nobody knows better, particularly when veterans spent time in the military visiting, you know, while they PCS to all these other stations.
Yes.
They see other ideas. They see, oh, that is really cool. But maybe if you did it a little differently, you know, they get these kind of ideas incubating in their minds.
I didn't think about it. That's right.
Yeah.
Like if you were in Germany or something.
Right. Yeah. They come in and they're bringing the world perspective here as opposed to just the Cochise County perspective. Not that there's anything wrong with the Cochise County perspective, but it's better to feed it with the insights gleaned from, you know, if you go to 5 different PCS stations, you're going to see 5 different communities with 5 different ways of doing stuff. It's really good for your ideas. And I see here that Beth has helped us out. Yes, it's 168 hours. I don't know why I said 69.
So we have some comments coming in. We can take a quick look at those. So, and we appreciate those because it is all about our community. We want to hear from you.
And this, you know, sentiment from Midnight Sun, we get that a lot. You know, there's a lot of hard feelings about the VA and the care that people get there or don't get there or how they're treated. And we're really trying to make a difference in that sense because a lot of veterans over the course of the last few decades have kind of developed the expectation set that if you're a veteran in crisis or in trouble or need help, you can just go to the VA and walk through the door and say,
it doesn't work.
I'm here, fix me, you know, just somebody fix me. Yeah. And that's an unrealistic expectation for any organization, let alone a bureaucracy. You know, it's a big government entity. So that's how we fit in, really, is to try to resolve crises first before they hit the VA, because when someone hits the VA in crisis,
and the nice thing is, like, again, you know, you cover the whole gamut. So if you're in a crisis, you can get them professional help,
right?
Because somebody in that situation needs professional help. Not, but if it's not a crisis and they just need a little lift, they may not need professional help. Maybe they just need a helping hand.
Right.
I mean, all of us need that once in a while in life, right?
Exactly.
You know, and I think right about now, and you know, we all know the economy is terrible right now. Prices are up, inflation, and everybody's kind of tightening their belt. But you got to remember, like, these veteran-owned businesses, they're getting it from both sides. Yeah, all their costs is going up. But also their sales are probably going down because everybody's tightening their belt. Right. So you kind of, it's like, if there's a time to get out and help your local businesses, it's right now. Right. Right now, it's a very critical time to support our community. And that's for all local businesses, all of them, even your chains, because they're still local and hiring people. But I'll just say, if you're thinking about buying something online, just stop for a moment and think to yourself, can I buy this locally?
Right.
Can I keep the money right here in my community? It might make a difference of somebody keeping a job or a business keeping the doors open. It's so we're in tough times. We can change it.
Absolutely,
we can change it.
Absolutely. When a community comes together, as you're describing, and what we're talking about with supporting our veteran families, then it really unlocks a whole host of really great possibilities in terms of, like you said, surviving a difficult time economically or developing a stronger community in general. That's really what we're focused on. One of the things we do is help veterans get their benefits from the VA that, they've either tried to get them and, been told, hey, here's your 10%, don't squander it, and don't ask any questions or we'll take that away from you. We really have found a lot of local veterans who were entitled to much more in their benefits, but were either intimidated by the VA or just had a bad experience with it or whatever, and they just don't believe that it's possible to get that boosted. So in the past year, we've had over 62 of our local veterans get upgraded. And we did the math on what that means for the community from just a pure income standpoint. It's an extra $2 million a year.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's going right here in this economy.
Right.
So now they can afford to go out and live better and go out to eat to that restaurant that's owned locally, which helps that.
Right.
It's like a ripple effect.
It is.
And it can go it could be negative, when things, or it can be positive.
Right.
And we here in this community, I'm not worried about what's going on back east.
Right.
I shouldn't say I don't worry at all.
I'm worried about it, but not for that.
Yeah. But more important is I want to know what's going on right here in our community. And that's why we're going to spotlight Cochise County.
Right.
That's what we're going to do because we want to know, my father, my dad was an old school Army man and he had all these old sayings. And, when you're a teenager, you just kind of like, yeah, dad, But you get older and you find out how wise your parents were.
Right.
So the one I think of that I think is appropriate is he said, son, it's better to be a big fish in a little pond than a little fish in a big pond. And I think to myself, I live in a pretty small community.
Right.
And it's we're a veteran community. This is a small pond and every one of us is a big fish. You're a big fish. Look what you've done for this community. I mean, it's just phenomenal. And we look at other people that have started businesses, nonprofit organizations, and they make a every one of you out there is a big fish. I want you to remember that. I'm telling you, if you've got a veteran-owned business that you like, go there frequently because you make the difference of whether they keep the door open or not. Literally, it's that big.
Well, that's another thing that we want to do is because, when we got started, we were asking the question, who has a list of all the veteran-owned businesses in our community? And everyone just kind of looked at us like, don't know. And we could not find any sort of resource so that we could publicize these are the veteran-owned businesses so that people can recognize them, frequent them as you're describing. So part of our effort is just mapping who are the veteran-owned businesses in our community, what do they do, what are their capabilities, how long have they been in business, what's kind of the situation on the ground. Because ultimately, if we can promote those businesses like you're describing as, hey, everyone, all veterans, these are the businesses that you need to look out for. Not saying ignore the other ones.
Right.
But,
we make that clear?
Right. Just be cognizant of the fact of who you're supporting.
And like I said before, the veteran-owned businesses are supporting the non-veteran businesses as well. You buy supplies from this company, you get your insurance from this company in town, and you get obviously your power bill from. So they're generating income that is again rippling throughout the community.
Right.
If we see that shrink, then lots of people get hurt.
Right.
Lots of people get hurt.
And that's why that veteran benefit angle is really one of the most important ones for us because, just in the course of a year, we've increased the amount of income into the community by $2 million
And that's
a year.
money coming from out of the community.
That's the federal government coming back in,
bringing
here.
money in here.
Right.
And
if we can
that's
do that
excellent.
every year, so that we're increasing $2 million a year every year coming into the community and then going into our local businesses, that is a game changer.
Yeah.
Because your economy can be really poor, but with that extra federal dollars coming in and put in the hands of veterans, that turns it into a big commerce initiative.
And they're entitled to it.
Absolutely.
That's why they served, and they served knowing our thought. I'm going to be taken care of in certain ways because of my service.
Right.
I had a gentleman I just met the other day, and I just turned 65 recently, so Social Security, Medicare, Medi-Cal, and I don't know. I had to research this stuff. I'm still working. I got insurance, so should I sign up? Shouldn't I? Right. And he came in. The store was also 65, and he's a veteran, and he didn't know about half of the veteran benefits that are available to him. Right. We ended up talking for an hour. I'm like, do you know that you can get medical coverage through the VA? And he's like, am I wasting my money on the Medicare? I go, you might be. Right. You might be wasting your money paying it. He's like, oh my gosh. And he just didn't know. So just the information alone and giving people a direction and help. So
you're right.
That's what we're here for, folks. We're reaching out to the entire community. Cochise, we're going to focus on the veterans, though. But we're not exclusive. And if any of you, just a note, if any of you have ideas that you want to come on the show in the future, you want to be part of this Cochise Spotlight, maybe you got an idea of something we can improve in a community, or maybe you want to talk about a business that you like going to and want to rave about them, you can email me. My name's not Jessica, but the email for the business is jessica@rubiesdivinechocolates.com. Email me, introduce who you are, your contact information, tell me what it is that you want to talk about, and we can see if we can schedule you to be a guest on the show.
Yeah.
So, definitely. And especially veterans, if we'd like to have you on here.
You know that farmers insurance commercial where they say we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the crew that we've got here at Warrior Healing Center. And I want to highlight one of them right now. You got Kevin McFadden, who just mentioned this Cochise College grant program. Kevin works together with Jerry, and they are with Arizona at Work. That is a state organization that helps people get jobs. But Kevin and Jerry are both veterans and disabled veterans at that. So their job with Arizona at Work is to directly assist veterans and disabled veterans with finding employment. They have an office here at the center. So likewise, if you have,
wow, I didn't even know about this.
Yeah, I agree with you, Kevin.
What do you say?
People know him. So if you have a veteran that is in your family or that you work with or that you know your neighbors with or whatever, and they're looking for employment opportunities, come here to the Warrior Healing Center. Make an appointment with the Arizona at Work guys, because nobody knows more about the employment situation in our community than these two guys. And they are really good at, pulling those levers in order to make good things happen for veterans with all the different grant programs that are out there, as well as the jobs. So things that can equip veterans to do the job or be better at the job are also possibilities as well. So that is a great resource we have here. And then I mentioned earlier, Beth, who straightened me out on the hours, but Beth is the lead for our veteran services, for people who come in that need assistance, who are in some kind of crisis. And the great thing about Beth is that she spent years as a VA certified caregiver for a combat wounded veteran. So she has seen all the troubles that can plague veteran families, both during the time when she was in service as a veteran spouse, as well as having worked afterwards.
Inside and outside.
Exactly.
She's seen it all.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she also is kind of a big deal. People know her. And so she is here working the other aspects. Employment is one thing, but we've got other dimensions as well. We got food. We have, financial assistance for things like utilities and things like that. Across the spectrum of what can cause a veteran to experience crisis, including substance abuse, addiction, that sort of thing. So these are the folks that we have are just a couple of examples of some of our experts here that are waiting to help veterans.
And do all these people volunteer?
Well, Beth does. Kevin and Jerry actually get paid to do their jobs,
but that's
which is
not
why
true.
we make them take the trash out.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm not getting paid, Beth's not getting paid,
So
Eric's not getting paid. So
yeah,
some people
does that mean I'm not getting paid?
Did you tell him?
I got to get with you after this, but there's a little bit of news.
Have your people talk to his people. Yes.
No, this is
so as Kevin says, Beth is a much bigger deal simply because it is because of great volunteers like Beth and many others. Kathy, who's the director here, is a volunteer, and she puts in just as many hours as Beth working on these issues. Eddie is a full-time volunteer here as well. We've got Dan, who is working the veteran benefits.
What are the hours of the center?
Well, we have multiple groups here. We donate office space to veteran service organizations that are serving veterans so that we can keep as many resources under one roof as possible.
Okay.
And we give each of those organizations the key and the code and everything to come in as they need to so that they can use our conference rooms or rec room or whatever else in order to do their
So I
mission.
could come by here and it could be open at different times.
Right.
Depending on who's here.
Right. But in general, it's 8 to 4. That's when we have someone at the front desk ready to greet people and bring them in and help them get the stuff done.
What days of the week?
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday, 8 to 4.
Yep.
You guys are dedicated.
Well,
Dedication and innovation.
That's right.
You fit the bill, just like the small business owners, but you're not nonprofit.
I'm just doing what Kevin told me to do. I mean, that's the truth.
Yeah. Dedication and innovation. You fit the bill. And your phone number.
Yeah, that's down there at the bottom, and you can find that down there, as
Okay.
well as the qualifying charitable organization number, which is kind of an exciting new development for us. For those of you who have done Arizona state taxes before, you know how this works. When an organization is a qualifying charitable organization, you can deduct dollar for dollar what you donate to that organization, up to $400 per individual or $800 per married filing jointly couple. So we just got that status this year, and will enable you, if you make a donation to Warrior
Big.
Healing Center, you can deduct that dollar for dollar off your taxes.
And
so that's that other one.
And keep in mind, since they're volunteers, they're not getting paid. I'm not getting paid, I found out. No, I knew that.
We pay him in snacks.
Yeah, there you
Snacks
go.
and beverages.
There's benefits.
Yeah, right.
Your donation goes to the center to help vets, not to somebody's,
There's no corporate
pocketbook.
level
Yeah,
above us.
it's
There's
all
nobody back in Virginia who's collecting the cash. All the donations that we receive here stay right here.
And it's a big center, and you have a lot to offer. This room, this is what they have to offer. That this is at the Healing Center, and now I got to point out something. You got to look at the background; it's pretty colorful. But I got the Marines up here, I got the Army, and over here in the corner you can see the Air Force. I don't know any of you out there,
little Navy hat right here.
Navy veterans.
Yeah, Navy hat right here.
Is that what we're going to call them for the Navy?
Yeah, that's Navy cover right there. Leslie brought that in. And
Okay, over
she is another one of our expert volunteers as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys got some memorabilia or something you
Yeah.
want to throw up on the wall, we'd love to.
I won't
do it.
mention any names. But I got a couple of coworkers that are prior Navy, you got something, bring it in here. Maybe they'll put it on the wall for you. Because I'm Army myself, but I didn't see the Navy well represented back here.
It's just a little, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
of course, the Marine Corps, Navy, it's all the same, right?
Yeah, the Navy's Army has its own Air Force. It's kind of weird.
Yep.
If you think about it. But, you know, Kevin is kind of making a good point that they work really hard here. So.
Okay. Okay. I see. So they're what?
It's insane.
Why they're justifying their income now? Okay.
They got to do something. But this is a message from Kathy. We'll put your stuff up on the wall. And of course, Erik reminds us we've got some missing spaces on our wall here.
Let's go. Okay.
Yeah.
So
any Space Force veterans out there.
Hey, my Navy coworkers, you know, I'm not gonna mention your name, but you know who I'm talking to. There's two of you. You bring something in for the Navy.
That's right. We'll put it up.
Yeah.
And then Kathy also reminds us on the taxes.
What's that say?
We just have this number right here, the QCO number. And when you have your taxes done, tell your tax preparer or in your QuickBooks or whatever service you're using, use that QCO number for your Arizona state taxes. And it's dollar for dollar deductible.
Okay.
And we'll give you a receipt for that. So
yeah. So
but
if you can donate, encourage you to do it. It's all going to help veterans. And I think all of us, I'm pretty sure all of us know somebody. I know personally a friend that committed suicide, a vet. I'm pretty confident most of you out there know somebody. Personally, if not somebody you served with. It is a big issue nationwide. But again, we're concentrating here. How can, we can't control what's going on everywhere across the country. We can control in Cochise County what goes on. We can help people right here where we live, and they're your neighbor. It's somebody living next door or down the street that needs help. And if you got too much pride, give it up. Give it up. Ask for help.
Yeah, because it's like you said, it's for real. We know of 6 veterans in our community here who have committed suicide in the last year. So it is hitting home. But when you look at it at the national level, and this is really why Kathy and Beth and Eddie and I started doing this, because in a 10-year period, more veterans committed suicide than all the deaths and losses we had in the entire Vietnam War.
Wow.
It's unimaginable how big this problem is. And that's really an underestimated amount because of the way they count it and everything. It's a long story, but in essence, it is an epidemic of veteran suicide. And everyone's kind of looking at each other, what do we do about it? How do we stop it? And the VA has made it a priority to stop it over the past 12 years. And it's still happening. Yeah. So this is really our community's effort to say, we're taking responsibility for our community. We're taking responsibility for our veteran families. And we don't look to Washington, D.C. We don't look to government bureaucracies. We will take care of this within our community.
I'm a big believer that things get fixed locally. So many people are always talking about the national. Well, what's Washington, D.C. doing? They're causing trouble. We need to concentrate on our community. We can make this a shining example. We can make Cochise County a shining example, have a healthy economy, helping each other, our neighbors, helping our vets, vibrant business where, people have, it all ties in. Like I said, if you got something that you're doing that you're passionate about, that's going to keep you healthy.
Right.
If you got good friends and family relationships, that keeps you healthy, But the flip side, is you have multiple. The friend that I lost not too long ago, it was multiple. He had multiple issues, financial, family, multiple that compiled on him over a short period of time, where I knew him to be perfectly happy and healthy 1 year, and then less than a year later, that fast, and it's just all those different things. So, and none of us are immune.
Oh no,
none of us.
No.
If you,
that's why we look at it as, other people view kind of contributing factors, those things that you're talking about, or life symptoms of a person's health, but we look at them as integrators. And by that we mean whether you're talking housing or employment or a family situation or personal loss, your dog died, for example, whatever it is across this whole range of needs, they don't just add up in an equation and equal a number, right? So if you're 10 out of 10 for housing this month, that's great, but they affect each other disproportionately. So when your housing is impacted and in question, and then your finances are impacted and in question, and then suddenly you find out that you've got a health problem that you don't know how to fix, or you have a financial shortfall because of life, and then you have an impact on your employment, or you find out maybe you're losing your housing. Those have disproportionate effects. They don't just add up to a total number of points. Exactly.
They multiply.
And you got to watch, because people will exist in kind of an equilibrium of crisis, where they're just kind of bouncing around and so forth. But then one factor changes, and that craters their psychology and their emotion. So it takes a persistent team community presence where we're all here saying, hey, I got you, I got you, I got you. And then when someone suffers that, having the confidence in the community resources to be able to say, I am not doing well, I need help. And we defeat the stigma of asking for help. We reduce the barrier to asking for help by being a persistent presence in the community that way.
Sure. And, you think about altruistic and egotistic, we're all a little bit egotistic,
Not
right?
me. No.
But the idea of being altruistic and egotistic together, you do find that when you reach out and you help other people, yes, there is a benefit that comes back to you.
Yes.
And it may not, might be a different kind of benefit. It might be emotional benefit, a gratification, or it might, one business helps another business, and maybe it's even financial return.
Yeah.
So there is return, not to, let's be honest, we're all kind of a little bit altruistic and a little bit egotistic, so.
Well, it's a lot easier to be altruistic when your needs are met and things are stable and you have a steady income and all that stuff. And that's one of the reasons why we emphasize the veteran benefits with Dan, is because when veterans have the benefits that they're entitled to, that frees them up from all those other concerns. It helps stabilize things. They have the income, they have the medical, they have the dental, whatever the situation is on what they're entitled to. As long as they have the most of that, they don't feel like, I'm getting shortchanged here, and then when they do have a crisis, it's like, I'm getting screwed, I'm just getting hosed.
And when they get on their feet, they might turn around and help somebody else.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things we try to do, is incorporate the veterans that we've helped here back into the help. Because 9 times out of 10, the best therapy comes from helping others. When you get out of your own head and focus on other people's problems, other people's challenges, and helping them overcome those, suddenly your problems don't seem as critical or as vital as they did before.
And that's another thing. I always talk about the world's changed drastically, and yes, a lot of us do feel isolated in a crowd. Because people are, we have the technology, we have the, the internet, and yes, which is good because we're using it in a positive way right now.
Right.
But if people get too stuck to where they're not going out of that home and they're isolated and having problems, you can just see that that's a cookbook for issues.
Yes.
So again, just get up, get dressed, take a shower, take a shower first, get dressed, go to that restaurant, have a nice meal from a veteran-owned business, and or maybe go to a store shopping, or maybe you get out of the house, and next thing you know, you're talking to somebody.
Yeah.
And you're out in the community, and you feel a little better, and you're helping your community. Again, everybody has an impact in a small community like this. You go to dinner one night to a restaurant that's owned locally, you literally might make the difference of a good day or a bad day for that business.
Yes.
One person.
Yes.
I'm telling you, I know you can have that kind of impact.
Right.
We're all big fish here in this little pond. So,
I think you're absolutely right. And understanding the scope of kind of the butterfly effect of what we're talking about here. Because, for example, Warrior Healing Center has assisted over 1,400 veterans in some stage of crisis over the past 4 years. And as those people get the assistance that they need and they feel like they're part of a team and someone's got their back, then they each go out and impact not only their own families, but their neighbors, their coworkers, and it has kind of this ever-expanding ripple effect, right? And you just never know, like you said, the kind gesture that's done for one person that you encounter out there could make the difference in their day, whether it's from a business standpoint or from an emotional standpoint. And when we are all taking care of each other as a community, that just increases the capability of the community to be that for each other. Like you said, when you feel like you're on your own and you don't know anybody, and really that's kind of what American society has done. We used to know our neighbors.
Yes.
We used to spend time as a community together in various ways that we don't really do anymore because of that technology. And so we really feel like, it's not like, okay, everybody go out and hug your neighbor. But when people are in a better headspace, when veterans are recovering from their issues that they have rather than suffering from those issues, then their families are better, their communities are better, their neighborhoods are better. And we've seen it time and time again.
1,400 in 4 years. That's a big number for this size of a community.
Yeah.
That's a big number. Yeah. Wow. I'm impressed.
Well, we know that there are nearly 20,000 veterans in Cochise County, and a vast majority of them are right here in the greater Sierra Vista area. And
then expand that. You got 20,000. Probably a lot of them have family.
Yep.
So that might triple that number.
Yeah.
If you have, if you're married with one child, that's tripled right there.
Right.
So that's now 60,000 people that are at least, in our community that are related to veteran.
Yes.
Benefits, health, everything.
Yes.
So basically, if our veterans are healthy, we got a healthy community. Right?
Absolutely.
We got a healthy community. If our veterans aren't healthy, then our whole community is not healthy.
Everyone's going to suffer. Yeah. There's no way for the community to avoid suffering when our veterans are not healthy. And all the resources are there. It's not a question of getting the resources. It's a question of finding the resources, finding the rules, figuring out who to call, having that Rolodex to be able to say, hey, call this person at this number and they'll be able to help you. Or we will, in cases of crisis, we'll walk with you through this thing so that you're not alone. We're right there next to you. That's why we have the computer lab here. So if you don't have computer skills and you need to do something online, you can do that here. We'll help you with it. Dan does that all the time with our veterans that are seeking benefits because the paperwork demand is really high. And he'll just over the shoulder help them with the computer interface. And I think that we're also making strides in getting outside of Sierra Vista to reach Tombstone and Wilcox and Benson and Bisbee and Douglas, because there are a lot of veterans outside of just this valley area that really are even more isolated because of maybe by choice, but when the problems arise, they're even more isolated. So our objective is to be here for the entire county and all the veterans here. And so, like I said, that constitutes nearly 20,000 veterans. And when you add in their family members.
Well, I got to tell you, want to thank you, first of all, because you're the one that put this together. It was your idea. Came up with an idea first, your innovation, your dedication, and I'm very excited to be a part of it. And I want to thank you. And I want to again reiterate that we're gonna spotlight different veteran businesses, and later on maybe other things. Besides it might be nonprofits or events going on in the community, always with a focus on the veterans, but all inclusive. So if you're out there, want to be a part of this, contact us. Either through the Healing Center here, or you can contact any veteran-owned business and let them know, hey, are you part of this? I want to be a part of this. And
you can find us on Facebook. Just search for Warrior Healing Center. You got the phone number down below, or you can find us at warriorhealingcenter.com. Yeah. And like Kevin says, we're all family here. So you guys come on over and see us, and see if we can do something cool.
Now we got a little serious today, but it's a serious topic. But in the future, I mean, we may cover some fun things too. Be a little bit light. Might joke around.
Not
a little
with
bit.
Erik here though. As long as Erik's involved, it will not.
It's always going to be serious and boring. Oh yeah, he's back. He's back.
Like a raven, never tomorrow.
Yeah. So no, I'm real excited, and we're again every Thursday. 5:00 p.m. We're going to be on the air with this show. Next week, I'm not going to give it away. Next week, we got a veteran couple that are opening up a brand new business in this town. They're going to be on this show next Thursday night. Their business is opening the next day on Friday, next week. So they're going to be on here. What they're opening is going to be exciting. Am I right?
Very
you
cool.
guys,
very cool.
So I'm not going to give it away. You have to tune into this show if you want to find out about this business. But it's exciting, innovative. They're definitely dedicated. They've been working hard to get this business open. You know, for quite a long time. Big investment. So tune in next week, 5 p.m. to find out about this new business owned by veterans. It's
exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Also, just one quick note, if you want to go ahead and get a Robert, if you need to drop him a message, as he said earlier, he did share his website, but also you could find him and his business at Ruby's Divine Chocolates. He does have a Facebook page, so go ahead and put that in the search engine, and you'll be able to pull him up and be able to see the business that he owns. I've been there quite a few times, and I'm all about the keto cookies over there and all that, so I'm going to go ahead and hit that up real quick. And speaking of keto and ketones, you can also check out my page too on Facebook. Just go ahead and search State of Ketones. Kind of like State of Trance, State of Ketones, STATE of Ketones, KETONES. We could go ahead and have a ketone-proven conversation, and you can get with me if any veterans and businesses, if you want to ask questions, comments, concerns, why does he come into the camera at the beginning, at the end of each of these segments, by all means, go ahead, drop a comment. Also, by all means, like this broadcast, like what we did, and share it so that we could get our voice out there. The more people that know, the more people we could bring in, we could help out, we could do what we do. And we just don't help veterans, we fight for them.
That's right.
There you go.
And also like it because of our fragile male egos.
Especially, I'm not pointing anyone out. And also, one last thing, any of the businesses, if you want us to come out there and check it out, we are mobile. You can go on site.
Good point. Has he done this before?
Once or twice.
Once or twice. Okay. Okay. I'm a rookie. He's a professional.
I'm comic relief.
Definitely.
All right. Well, I think it's about time to sign off.
All right. Sounds good.
And thank you for joining us and sharing your comments. And we'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.